So it's about actually then trying to sort of work out how I can incorporate both, and I really do enjoy the walking. So I'll go back to the walking and probably just do the swimming at the weekend. But yeah, COVID really got on top of me actually I just really, I've actually booked to go overseas. I'm leaving to go overseas on Wednesday. Yeah, I was just very, very homesick, which I haven't been for 20 years, but very, very homesick. And
of course.
Really, my parents ended up getting with COVID and ended up sick and unwell. So lots of just stuff, like that. So I sort of prioritized my mental health and booked a flight, and eventually I'm getting to go on Wednesday. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
look, it's good. It's good just to know the challenges, and I sort of think that what really worked for me was the half hour, not trying to make it a big exercise plan. So I know it's much easier to go back to actually that half hour, not sort of aiming for an hour, because an hour just doesn't work. So I will definitely go back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, good on you. That's right. And I think, I liked that. I liked the fact that you did make it a bit more achievable as bite-sized rather than trying to, jam in 3 hours a day or that type of thing is a bit more achievable. So knowing that it really benefited your mental health, why then do you think you sort of stopped doing it as such? Like,
I think it was just I really was very, very low. Like it's I've never really been that low where I just sort of was really not motivated to the point where I was sort of thinking, God, maybe I should actually go and do something about this, because but we were still in lockdown, so I really was sort of concerned. So actually it was, as I say, a very conscious decision to sort of think, God, I actually need to get out of this, And it meant I was with other people. We were doing it individually, but it meant I was catching up with people that I knew. And when you're getting into the cold water, you actually can't think about anything else. It was a real circuit breaker. And as I say, definitely for a month there, it was actually much more important to me, because I sort of thought, geez, I just can't, I don't even know what else to do. Like, work had to continue. So it was really challenging for me to sort of think. I was desperate, to be honest. I was really desperate. Yeah. So it was sort of just a bit, just something that got my head out of my head. Walking, I tend to go into my head. So, yeah. So it was,
that's right. It almost gives you more time to think and to ponder and to really feel sort of quite flat. So has just booking these flights, have you noticed a difference?
Huge.
Oh, really? Huge. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah. It was just, I booked them thinking, it was just all of that, just missing family, not having family here. You just sort of wanted something. So I sort of booked the flights and sort of thought, look, even if I lose the money, I don't care. It really sort of carried me through. It gave me something to look forward to.
Fantastic.
Which is to say, it's only been 2 years since I've been home, but it felt like it's such a long time, because so many things, my mum's declining in health and that, so it just felt like time missed, and just all of that, just emotional stuff, to be honest, which sort of caught me a little bit, because we've survived 18 months of this. So I think the last lockdown really, because I think the pressure of work just had to continue. So, that's where it sort of got to me, that I thought, oh God, I just really actually want to take a month off and not do anything. But
that's right. Really just switch off from all of it. Yeah. Well, good on you for identifying those signs and for actually doing something about it. And you would not be alone in the way you've been feeling. My goodness, it's such a normal, such a normal way to be feeling. But great that you've been able to find some productive things to be doing. That's wonderful. Tell me about you, David. What's been happening in your world when it comes to exercise? I know you're really on your feet a lot at work.
Yeah, I'll exercise. We'll still walk a few times a week with the dog.
Great.
We were upstairs in the gym there for a while. Went more back to the walking.
Yeah.
We'll do between 2 and 5 Ks or whatever around the place.
That's great. Yeah, excellent.
That's twice a week. Some weeks less, some weeks more.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah. And so how do you build that into your day? Is it a nighttime thing? Do you do that after dinner or? The
lights are on, or weather depending, I suppose.
Yeah, that's great.
I like to walk in the wet.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned that you had been going up to the gym a little bit. So
I haven't been for a while now. Do all the walking Spent too many years in the gym in previous years, so we've had enough of that.
Yeah, fair enough. So it's not something you look for, like you don't enjoy it as such.
No. We'll do the cardio. Look at the cross trainer up there in her own machine. We'll do those.
Yeah.
Moving lumps of steel around the place. Done that for years.
It wasn't for you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I think that's the thing with exercise, is that there's a lot of trial and error that comes with it. Like you have to find something that you actually enjoy doing and sort of don't hate every single minute of it. So, and it doesn't have to be slogging out in the gym. I know that obviously Emilio and Nat, they used to love the F45. Have you kept going back to that, Emilio, or have you?
No.
So what have you guys been up to with it?
Walking, walking, got in a good habit with lockdown, walking in the mornings with the dogs. And then
Yeah,
again at
great.
night.
Yeah,
And
good one.
Finally back to clinical Pilates, which has been good.
Yes,
Both of our
yeah.
backs haven't been the best, more so Natalie. So, look, we'd like to get back to F45, but I think we need to get our bodies back. Whether we go back or not, though, might be another thing.
Yeah, that's right. And I think when you've got sort of vulnerable backs, because sometimes F45 can be the absolute.
Look, it was good. It's a bit too intense. I think it can.
Yeah.
There's a bit too much pressure on. Probably more just, not enough on a technique, but more too much push and weights.
That's right. Reps and high. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
We might, could finally get back to, we've got a couple of sessions of Pilates in and then obviously got locked down.
Yeah.
Now we're back actually doing 2 sessions a week.
Yeah, great. And your walks each morning and night. Yep.
When we can. It's starting to been a bit crazy with both of us with work. So definitely at night.
Yeah,
and
good.
Try and get the morning ones in majority of the time. Yeah,
good. Yeah. And I mean, walking is a fantastic exercise. Like you really don't have to slog it out and do the F45 stuff, or that kind of style of, like high rep, bang, 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 bang. Because eventually your body does start to wear out with that kind of stuff. So like, yes. I think you guys might remember from session 3, doing any kind of strength training is going to be really beneficial for you, but it doesn't have to be the, slogging it out till you're almost sort of having a heart attack on the spot. So that's excellent. I'm thrilled that you guys are on the majority doing some sort of walking most weeks as such. We actually, I don't know whether we had the puppy when I last saw you guys, but we have since got a dog for our daughters basically. But I'm surprised by how much more we're walking, purely because I feel guilty for the dog, So that's been really good for us, just feeling guilt. So being forced to, walk more sort of regularly and things. So that's been a sort of something interesting for me to learn and to observe as well, because we're not normally sort of big walkers. But so that's been positive. So I'm glad to hear that you guys are also feeling guilty as well. That's great. Tell me, David, what's been happening in a nutshell with your food? Is there anything you've been sort of consciously being more aware of, or?
No, we try and stray away from the sweetie things, but it's not successful sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, that, reducing those, we lost the 6 kilos. But that's where it sort of plateaued.
Have you kept it off though? Or is the 6 kilos starting?
It's still off.
Yeah, great. I'd call that a win.
Yeah. I like it off, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
Whether the motivation is there to work that bit harder on it all, I don't know.
So where do you think maybe it's portion control? Like, what do you think it might be? What are some other avenues we could look at for you?
Oh, look, I mean, depends on, what websites you read and blah, 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 blah. It's all carbs, it's all this, it's all that. I was most disappointed in Michael Mosley. I liked his program until they said, it's only $175 to do it. Well, bugger you. But this is all back to carbs. So, I have porridge for breakfast with milk and a bit of honey. So that's all carb.
So sorry, did you buy his program or you didn't? No, you didn't. Oh, phew. Oh, good.
Will not.
Yeah.
So, but I think it seems to be so more even morning tea. It's some wholemeal saladas, all their carb. Lunch is fruit, carb with a frozen meal, carb. Tea is carb.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bloody starve to death. But
exactly.
So it's that, or just put out more exercise, burn more and burn more and burn more. So.
Yeah, no. A few comments there. I totally agree. The Michael Mosley stuff. I think some of his points were quite good. I don't know, Rosie and Emilio, if you guys saw that. There was a bit of a special on, was it SBS or ABC? And basically he was reduced. He went on to a significantly different diet, and his risk of type 2 diabetes went through the roof, and then he went back the other way. And the way he did it, though, just like David's identified, was really heavily reducing carbs and things. But his messaging was also around basically cutting out all fruit. And it's so detrimental for people, because just like you're identifying, David, it's so confusing then, because you're thinking, well, that's exactly the path I'm on, where I'm trying to reduce my risk of type 2 diabetes. And then I've got this sort of so-called sort of doctor who's really experienced. But at the end of the day, just like you've identified as well, David, is just trying to sell a product, quite an expensive one, and is sort of asking you to cut out an entire food group, which should be making up 40 to 60% of your daily intake, so
well, he says only for sort of 3 months.
Yeah, but
the starvation, bit of water.
Yeah, no bread, that's right, just a lot of water. But then it doesn't teach you anything, though, because then what happens when you come back after those 3 months? Then you just go back to your way of life again. So the thing with carbohydrates, we do not need to fear them whatsoever. We just need to choose the best ones we can choose. So just like you've already said, so porridge, fantastic choice. If we're looking in the bread aisle, let's go for a multigrain or a wholemeal as opposed to
multigrain bread.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's great. That's so good. Mix it up and have brown rice rather than white rice. It's just about looking at some sort of better options when it comes to carbohydrates. Things like your sugary sweetened beverages, we all know they're not great for us. So absolutely reduce your intake of those, but we don't need to give all carbohydrates the blanket of avoid, because it does leave you feeling really confused, thinking I'll have a sandwich every day. So what now? You just want me to have the cheese and tomato and lettuce? Like that's, I'm going to be starving. So I'm glad that you could sort of see through the sort of smoke mirrors and think, actually, I think this is not very helpful at all, because it's not. And it sounds like what you're eating is actually quite good, but perhaps it's your sizes. Perhaps your portions just need to be slightly tweaked and reduced a little bit. And you might see a big change, which I just want to actually read out Jenna's text message, because I thought it was really great, because you guys might remember she's got young kids and they were going to daycare. And what did she say? So, hi, Katie. Thank you for the reminder text. I'd forgotten my husband has a work meeting tonight, so I won't make it. Since our last catch up, I've had my gallbladder removed and have been in recovery, but pleased to say that between then, August, and now, so what are we, November? I've actually lost 8 kilos and drastically improved mine and my family's eating habits, including portion sizing. I've significantly reduced the amount of takeaway that we're ordering. I try to do a couple of 20-minute workouts 3 times a week, but I'm also choosing to walk the kids to childcare 3 times every week, and then I go on to work. I have my weeks where I don't get as much working out done, but it seems to be enough at the moment that I've adjusted portions and choices, because I seem to be continuing to lose little bits of weight. The HALT trick has been very helpful too. Happy to catch up another time. So I really liked that, because she's not done anything really drastic. She hasn't gone and ordered the Michael Mosley program and now she's reduced all carbohydrates. She's, like she sort of identified, she has just made little small tweaks in there, but it's working for her. It hasn't impacted so much on the family life as such, and she's sort of seeing those continuous sort of little bits of weight loss, which is really great. So I was really thrilled for her, because being a new mum with the young kids is so bloody hard. So I just really liked that, the way that the portion control was sort of working for her a bit better and trying to choose better overall. So Yes, I know. I was thrilled for her with that little message that she
Please
sent.
tell her congratulations. That is,
I
because
will.
it is really challenging with young kids, isn't it? Because your time isn't sort of your own. So that is
No.
really a great effort. Tell her well done.
Yeah, I will. I will. But I think the point about the portion control is something that we can all really sort of have another reassessment of, because we do tend to, there is no fear, there should be no fear around foods, as in we enjoy what we like to eat. On the majority, we eat the best we can. In the small other percentages, particularly this time of year or the festive stuff, we eat more energy dense foods. However, at the end of the day, it's so much more about what the amounts of these foods that you're actually eating. And that's where we really need to sort of check in with our body and have a think about, how am I feeling? Am I feeling really full? Am I feeling really uncomfortable? Do I actually need to have the cheese platter before I have the meal? Do I need to have the breads with this and that? That type of thing. So I just think it's something that we could all benefit from coming back and just re-looking at again with the portion control side of things. Not that I'm wanting you to be starving, not whatsoever, but it's just about winding back that level of really full to just satisfied and content as such. How have you been going with that, Emilio? Because I know, because Nat has always said how much, you love to cook and you deliver all these beautiful meals, and she can't say no, and it's so hard.
Probably started off okay. And
yeah.
yes. COVID probably kicked in. And look, probably not, probably a bit more on the sweet side, which I'm not a great fan of, but
yeah.
And then it's more portion size, yes, part of it, but then also eating after dinner. Look, we had a good stretch there.
Yeah.
Because Natalie's been trying, I don't know the name, but where she'll fast from
intermittent fasting. Yeah.
To anywhere up to midday.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was good. That encouraged me as well not to sort of eat after dinner as well.
Yeah,
so a good run of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I guess, still issue on and off. We probably a good variety of food, but it's more at night. Portion size and probably eating after dinner, which was had a good run for a bit, but then probably a bit as well.
So, what tends to happen? When you guys, you have your meal that was so delicious, I really enjoyed it, and then what happens? And then you go and sit on the couch, and then someone says, "How about a little bit of something?"
If I keep busy, I don't tend to eat like if we go, but it's more the sitting down then
watching TV. Yeah.
And then wanting to snack.
Yeah. And it's not a hunger thing.
Shouldn't be. Well, it's sort of
like a mental hunger.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't be a hunger because you've just had dinner.
Yeah, that's right. So what do you think it is? Is it more of like a comfort routine, habitual?
Yeah, or sometimes being a bit stressed too, I suppose, with work and COVID. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is it the kind of conversations that you're having of like, I've had a really crappy day and I just really want to eat that because I just really want to, it's really shit at the moment. And, is it that kind of conversation?
Yeah. Okay. Not too often, but yeah.
It can be like that. Yeah. And I mean, we can all relate to this because a lot of the time food does feel like that comfort. That sort of, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling annoyed, I'm feeling, whatever the feelings might be. And then food can feel as though it's going to fix that a little bit, sort of make you feel like I have really, really worked hard today and I'm really stressed and I should just be able to sit and enjoy this and no one should be able to tell me that I can't have it. But what happens if you don't have it?
It's probably just getting that train of thought in your mind, not to, you want to, but then you try, which doesn't always work.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And do you think you actually want to? Do you think you actually want to not eat after dinner?
Yeah. Yeah, just the odd occasion. And it's probably always thinking about, like I said, it was a good habit there, with both of us. We sort of encourage each other, but then we can be each other's downfall as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's always got to be the weakest link. That's right.
Yeah.
The only thing, look, I mean, the trouble, coming back a step, there's not a huge issue with eating stuff after dinner. I would say, hand on heart, that I would probably have chocolate most days, right? But I might have 1 or 2 pieces of dark chocolate, and then I'm sort of fine. And I tend to feel like mine after lunch for some reason. That's my sort of general habitual routine, I would say. But if at nighttime you are having if you've already said, how about like, I think my portion control is a little bit out as well. If that's a little bit out, and then most nights of the week you're then also having a little bit more after that, you simply just topping up your fat stores. And that is the trouble, because you're just not moving enough across the day in order to warrant that extra energy intake that you're having at nighttime. So that's the only thing. It's when the sort of little incidental things happen multiple times, but they happen each and every single day, So we don't want you to get to the point where you feel like, I'm not allowed to have anything after dinner ever, because then as soon as you say you're not allowed something, you'll just want it more. And then you and Nat, then you'll just like you sort of said, we were doing so well, and then it unraveled, So there almost needs to be a bit of a structure, a little bit of a rule system around it, in terms of we do it on these nights, or we do it on, whatever it might be. So you have a bit more structure, but you can rewire the habit pathways that you have in your brain, but it takes practice. So you need to be able to practice to be able to say sort of, tonight we are not, Natalie, I don't care how crappy your day has been, we are not doing it tonight. And we're going to actually practice talking to ourselves in that way, because your default is to have something. So as soon as somebody says, what about, yeah, definitely, we are on, So, and it happens so easily, It's way harder to say, no, Natalie, we're not doing it tonight. But it takes practice. But as well, you also should be able to have something a couple of nights each week. We just don't want you to have it 7 nights a week. That's when when you start to see the weight sort of continue to come on, because it's just too much energy as such. So Rosie, tell me about you though as well. What's your food intake been like?
Probably just being sedentary, I suppose. I sort of find we've just gone through marking, for results. So there was a lot, like 4 weeks of just actually sitting. Sit, yeah. And I think the tendency is, to seriously, sometimes just out of sheer boredom, where you think, oh God, I can't mark another bloody assignment,
Yes.
So yeah, it's just like got anything to distract me. So yeah, and I recognize what Emilio's saying, in the evening time, where I sort of think it's definitely not hunger. It is literally just, I want something different, something sweet, or something, even if it's savory, but something sweet. So I do try not to have it in the house, and my son has just moved out, which means we're having to sort of cook for ourselves, which is, it's actually a bonus, because he cooks he tries a lot of things, but he cooks very rich food, so it's actually a bonus that he's moved out. Yeah, it means we have to cook for ourselves, of course, but it's a much sort of simpler sort of cooking we would do, so that has only just been a few weeks ago, so I know that'll sort of be a bit of an adjustment. But yeah, look, it's definitely portion control for me, where I sort of think, I never feel full until I'm sort of over full, and then I think, okay, I can stop. Yeah, so it's always been portion control for me. So
yeah. Do you consider yourself a fast eater?
Probably, yes. I'm certainly not a slow eater. I don't know about fast, but I'm certainly not a sort of a slow digest. I tend to sort of eat when I'm doing something else. So I'm not sort of really being mindful about it, So I am, even in the morning, I'll sort of tend to have breakfast and read the newspaper, So yeah, it's not good. Maybe less so for me, for a dinner, in the evening, it might be sort of more, sort of shared. But
Mhm.
yeah. But in general, it's probably not good if I'm, if I'm at work and eating, I would probably do it at my desk, so I'm eating
Yeah.
and then, which is sort of very bad. Yeah. So that's, as I say, look, I'm certainly thinking that wasn't typical, probably what I was sort of pre-COVID. So I'm sort of hoping that as things go back to normal at work, that those sort of things would go back to normal as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. And a couple of really important points there as well that you've identified, and that is absolutely giving food the time it needs, to actually sit and eat the meal. Because sometimes when you find that you tip over into way too full, but you haven't almost realized it, it can be because you have eaten too quickly, so your brain and your head haven't actually had even a chance to have that conversation yet, and suddenly you're really full. So sometimes just simply slowing it right down and removing the distractions can be really, really helpful, just to sort of ensure that you are able to check in and get a clear, accurate reading of how your body is actually feeling. Another thing as well is that when we get into the habit of sort of really craving and feeling like this sort of high energy sweet stuff a lot of the time, it can sometimes be because people are not eating regularly enough throughout the day. So Natalie, I don't know if she's still doing the intermittent fasting, Emilio, but I find that people who do the intermittent fasting, because they're having such big blocks of time without eating, when they get the opportunity to finally eat, it's almost like this insatiable hunger of, I've really got to eat and I'm starving. And then what can happen is that window where they are eating, they almost get to the point of overeating, because that's sort of this, intensive, I need to try and eat a lot now to sort of make up, because the window is going to shut again soon.
Probably not so much, no. With Natalie, yeah, she's been good like that.
Yeah, good. Well, that's great. That's really good. So
a bit of weight there too, which was.
Oh, did she? Good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
has she stopped it now, or she's still doing it?
Still doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good on her. And she's still seeing some weight loss, or?
No, it sort of peaked there, and we probably went off the rails a bit. And
Yeah. Good. Well, not good that you went off the rails, but.
she was doing really well.
Yeah, good on her. That's great. Well, that's really good. If it's working for her, then absolutely, by all means, she should stick with it. It's just that when you're not eating enough food, what your body will tend to err on the side of doing is making up for that lack of energy. And it tends to want us to get that instant energy from something that is sweet or something that is energy dense. So then our body can use it straight away as such.
Yep.
So just making sure that we're eating regularly, and we're eating sort of, just like we sort of mentioned, the good carbohydrates, the proteins, those things that are going to keep us full for longer, fruits and veggies and all those things that you guys know all about. So everything that you've identified is really normal stuff and really common, but some of the hardest stuff to sort of get around. We all sort of know that we should be eating lots of fruits and vegetables and lots of lean meats and all that. We all know all that, but it's more about the functionality of how you're eating and the quantities that you are eating. It tends to be more about that side of food as opposed to eating the healthy pyramid, So I think you guys are all on the right track. You just all need a little bit of tweaking, just to sort of, and obviously coming into Christmas and this type of thing, it's going to be really hard because, there's so many other events and things, and you're going home, Rosie, so that's going to be a whole other thing. But just being mindful about how you're eating and what you're doing when you are eating is just a really good one to sort of, try and wrap your head around. So tell me as well, has anyone seen any weight loss as such? No, Rosie? No, Emilio, no. Yep, David, you're 6 kilos.
Yep.
Exactly. Well done, David. You've done an excellent job. Yep. And I only just wanted to ask that because again, you guys know the way that I operate, and I'm not all that into, like, weight loss is not the end goal as such for some, I mean, a couple of kilos, of course, everyone would love, but we're at this point, we're more about just getting our head around the goals and our healthy habits that we're really trying to embed. So that is good. We've sort of touched on this a little bit, but lapses, Emilio and I sort of discussed that a little bit in terms of where are the points at which you sort of find is a bit of a weak point, in terms of, and for Natalie and Emilio, perhaps it's about that nighttime when everyone's tired and they're sort of, just finally getting to relax and unwind a little bit. And that's when we feel a bit like, oh, maybe I'll have that sweet thing that's sitting there waiting for us. So that's about identifying the lapse and then trying to work with it. So David, can you think of any times where you tend to have that little lapse?
Oh, it's the same as out of the sweetie treaties after tea. So I keep saying, if they're there, I'll eat them. They're bought and still get eaten.
And is yours the after dinner stuff as well?
Yeah. Depends on what's been brought into the house as to what it'll be. But,
and have you been very clear about your disdain for those sweets that keep finding their way in?
Yes, I have.
Have you? Or have you been quiet?
I have pointed out.
Yeah, good move.
Pointed out to them and say it.
Exactly. Well, I do tend to agree. I do think, David, that if you really don't want them, you can say no.
Oh, yes. But we want them.
No. I know. It is very hard. But again, same thing for you. You can have them. You just can't have them every single day, all day, Because was it, sorry if this is not correct, but were you having sweet biscuit with cups of teas and things?
Yes.
Yeah. And still are?
Well, occasionally, but we make it a ginger nut now. So no cream biscuits. They haven't made an appearance in the house again. So.
Okay.
So if it is, it'll be a ginger nut biscuit or something.
Yeah, okay. A few times a day or once a day?
Oh. If I'm on the weekend, it's usually once.
Yeah.
During the week, I'm at work, so it's it's salada biscuits and fruit. So.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. That's fine. So you ginger nut are more of your weekend party time. Okay, well, that's fine. I can agree to those. That's no worries at all. I like to hear that you've altered your choices and gone from a cream to a ginger nut. That sounds like a good progress, I think. What about you, Rosie?
That's any problem.
It's not. Yes. David, you're meant to be on track with me, yeah? We're working towards it.
Digestives any better? The chocolate coated digestives, are they better for you? Or?
They're delicious.
Chocolate coated ones are very nice.
Yeah, I know. That's right. So if you got those, would you want to have more than one?
Oh, yes.
And are you only having one ginger nut then?
Two.
Two, yeah, okay.
You gotta have two with a big cup. So.
Oh my gosh. David, we've got a lot of work to do with you, my friend. I will do the research on that. I'll come back to David and let him know whether he can have 2 ginger nuts or 2 chocolate coated digestives.
Or a smaller cup.
Or a smaller cup that only allows one biscuit.
Digestives are more at Mum's place. I go to Mum's place on a Friday. Yeah, she's going. She has the digestives there. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I can't wait to go and see Mum. Just love going to see Mum.
90 next birthday.
Oh, she can eat as many digestives as she likes. She's doing a wonderful job. We're actually living with my in-laws at the moment because we're renovating our house. And my husband's the builder, which is the worst thing in the world. But there are so many cups of teas and sweet biscuits going down in this house now. Like I've never seen anything like it. So I have to switch off from Katie mode and go into supportive daughter-in-law mode and just not make any comments. But holy moly, we are eating some biscuits in this house. So you can so quickly see how those habits those routines, the way those things happen, you know, but it's almost for my in-laws, it's also about like, this is their sort of time together, you know, it's also about the social and emotional side of things as well, you know, like we do this together because this is what brings us together at this moment, you know, so it's so nice to observe, but I'm also a little bit twitchy when I start seeing all these, you know, the endless packets of biscuits being opened. But anyway, so that's been quite interesting for me as well. So I'm glad that you go and you have that digestive with your mum, David. That's very nice of you to do that. Can you just have less the rest of the week? All right. Rosie, tell me, have I asked you about lapses?
No, lapses for me, I think it's around not having the food in the house. So I make a real effort on a Sunday. I love hard, crunchy fruit. So I love hard pears and I love hard apples. So the last, well, I don't know, 6 weeks now, probably I've sort of thought, actually, the only way it'll work is if I can go on a Sunday. So I go down to a wee farmer's market on Sunday and sort of just have enough, you know, so that I have a pear and an apple and a banana every day. And that just makes a big look at it's still, you know, I'm a bit like David. I love, you know, a cup of tea with biscuits or whatever, but at least for through the day, it's generally okay. It's in the evening time when I sort of struggle, and as I say, just sort of sitting, you know, for something different. But I definitely am sort of coping with the lapses just in the way that I really enjoy the fruit, and if I'm at work, I'm much less inclined because I just don't have the you know, the food there. I'll bring what I bring into work is what I eat, and it sort of always feels like a treat when it's sort of a nice salad or something, you know. But yeah. So
absolutely.
And it's just keeping up that habit, and it's easy, you know. I go down for a swim, you know, over the weekend, and then, you know, I pass it on the way home. So it's sort of very easy to do. So it is. So that has worked really well. So it has.
Yeah, good on you. I love that. That's a great management of those lapses, and that's the thing. I think all three of us have identified that if it's not in the house, it tends not to be so loud in our heads, you know. So I think there's a lot of, you know, for those of you who are living with other people, there's some conversations that possibly could be had, because that might go that next step in order, you know. And I know that we live in a society now where we can have anything in 5 seconds flat, you know, as in if you really wanted it, you could go and get it. But I think that's a big one to be thinking about. Do we have less ginger nuts in the house? Do we have less of those, you know, those things that we tend to, when they're in the cupboard, they tend to scream a bit louder. Whereas if they're at the supermarket, we don't tend to hear them screaming so much. So that's good, Rosie, though. That's great that you've been able to identify that and also now sort of actively done something about it. So that's really good. And I'm thrilled about the amount of fruit you're eating. That's fantastic. Good on you.
Yeah. And it just feels a bit of an indulgence. So it is, because the wee place I go to, it's always like super fresh, but it's expensive, you know. It's more expensive than the shop, the supermarkets and that. But actually it feels sort of, as I say, it's like nearly that's the reward, is that, you know, oh God, I get some nice and really crunchy grapes, and, you know, so yeah, I really
enjoy them.
Yeah. I do love it. Yeah, I love the summer for that. But
you girl after my own heart, Rosie. Talking about fruit like that. Amelia and David are thinking, oh God, like, no, I cannot relate. But I'm hearing you, Rosie. That's so nice. So tell me then, what do the next 6 months look like? What can I expect from you guys? When we catch up in 6 months, what will have happened? Emilio, tell me, what's going to have happened in the next 6 months?
After Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably more of a setting those goals, like you mentioned, probably with after dinner. Come to an agreement, like I said, whether it's the weekends and not during the week, possibly.
Yep.
So that might have to be a goal we sort of both set for ourselves.
Commit to. Yeah, that's right, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And it doesn't work when you've got young adults living at home still, because that's the cupboard's full for them.
Yeah, I bet. I know you've had like a thoroughfare of people coming back and forth. How many young adults do you have living in your house?
Yeah, what is it? Two boys, but then there'll be their girlfriends on and off, and the eldest son will come to visit as well and stay overnight. And
so you guys have got 3 sons.
Yeah.
And 2 are at home still. Yeah, wow. So that's a lot. So your cupboards do have to be stocked a bit differently. I can appreciate that.
Yes, which doesn't help.
No, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Do you still love them being at home though?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's good. You just got to take all their crappy food options as well.
Yeah, lock them away.
That's right, exactly. So David, tell me, in 6 months' time, what can I look forward to hearing about from you?
Oh, yeah, probably the same.
No, David, you meant to say I'm going to be walking more, Katie, or I'm going to be.
Yep.
Has something happened?
I think he fell asleep.
We got.
My internet unstable.
Oh, are you right?
I think so.
That was quite a convenient time, may I add.
Yeah, I thought so. Hang on, where's that?
Sorry, Katie, it's unstable. I can't commit to anything. No, yeah. So where do you think I would like to see you doing a little bit more exercise, and also perhaps keeping on working on your sweets intake and your portion control. But I don't want to bully you into things. I want you to, how do you feel about that?
We still know to do the sweets control things. And the portion control, suck it and see what happens.
Not the sweets though. Don't suck any of the sweets, all right?
No Tim Tam slams.
No Tim Tam slams. Although I don't mind a Tim Tam slam, I must admit. Miss Rosie, tell me.
I will definitely have got back to the walking, and
Yes.
last year I did a charity walk, 70k
cool.
charity walk. So I will definitely, that's running again in May of next year. So I will definitely have booked in for that, and that's sort of really helpful because then there's sort of there's a little bit of training involved. I mean, you have to design the training yourself, but you sort of know you're up for 70k, so you have to get a few kilos.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
A bit more, but getting back to, I'm away for 2 months actually. I'm in Ireland for 2 months, and because there's no work, I will absolutely, it's much easier to do the exercise there. So of course I'll get back into to walking a bit more there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it's my son bought me a beautiful puffer jacket for Christmas to take over. So no, that's much easier because of time. So and that would be, if nothing else changed, that's the one thing I would like to sort of keep going, is just the walking, just half an hour, 5 or 6 days a week, and keep that going. Yeah.
Fantastic. Good on you. Well, I can't wait to hear about your trip home. I'm genuinely excited for you. I bet you can't wait for Wednesday to roll around.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be so wonderful to go home, you lucky duck. Excellent. Okay, well, I've made those notes, so I will remember in 6 months' time, and you've got to come. You can't not come because you haven't done any of those things, okay? Because this is a safe space. Even if you haven't, it doesn't matter. It's just good that we come together and we talk about it, because then it rejuvenates you again. And then you hang up and you think, yeah, okay, so I just need to get back on this little track again and just keep on trying, because that's all it is. We're just trying to build in new habits. And that only comes with time and with a bit of effort and a bit of consistency. So we now don't have our session 6 again until another 6 months, basically. So that's ages away now. But I am sorry to do this to you, but I do have to send you another questionnaire, the same as last session 4, okay? Because now we're just wanting to capture how you guys have been going for the last few months. You don't have to put in loads of content. You know the drill. Just go this much, and if you could send those back to me. If you could do that before you go, Rosie, I would really appreciate it.
You send it tonight?
I will send it. Yep, I'll hang up to you guys and I'll send them now. But yes, if you could please complete those for me, that would be wonderful. I'll send them to everyone, and I will keep harassing you until you send them to me. So you may as well just send them in the next day or 2, and then I won't have to keep annoying you. But I'm honestly so proud of all of you. Like, as much as I make fun and sort of, sound as though I'm really down on you. I'm not at all. You guys have done a wonderful job. And this is hard. Like, this is uncomfortable, and it's new learning. We've been doing things for so long now. So it's really confronting having to come online and say, this is what's going on for us, and this is what we're finding hard. And, so thank you so much for coming and for sharing your stories with me and for trusting us. I really appreciate it. But I will very much so look forward to seeing you guys in 6 months' time. And you know where I am. So if you've ever got any questions, just send me an email or send me a text or whatever it might be. I'm always very happy to help, okay? We are done. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rosie. Have the best time at home. Thanks,
Yeah, will
Emilio.
do.
Say hi to Natalie for me.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks,
Yes,
David.
see you all.
So nice to see you all. We'll see you in
See you.
6 months.
Yep.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
See you
Bye.
guys.